Guys, today I have my first update for my makeup use up 2018. If you did not see my intro, I will have my video linked up here, and basically this is my year-long project pan. So I have chosen specific items I would like to either finish or hit my goal on this year, and then I would also like to finish up an additional 50 makeup items. So I'm going to start with the makeup use up products. I will show you things that I've completed and hit my goal on, then I will show you the progress on all the other items, and at the end I will show you my additional makeup empties for these first 2 months. And I'm really excited for this update because I've already made a ton of progress. I'm super proud that I'm starting off the year strong. So jumping into my first finished product, that would be the Maybelline Dream Cushion Foundation in the shade 10 Porcelain. I told you guys in my intro that I had already finished this up. I used this up completely in 1 month, which is insane because this is very expensive for a drugstore foundation, and it only comes with half a fluid ounce, and I blew through this so quickly, but I really actually like this foundation, which was a huge surprise to me because most cushion foundations are really glowy. This did give a decent amount of glow, but the color was amazing. It felt very lightweight on the skin, but I was able to get about light medium leaning medium coverage out of this. If you guys did not see my first impression and follow-up video, I will link it up here so you can see me applying it. Do not use the little spongy thing that comes with this. It will soak up all the product, but if you use like a Real Techniques or Beauty Blender sponge, amazing. So I would only repurchase this if I could get it for like 50% off because I just blew through it way too quickly. The next thing I finished was the NYX HD Concealer in the shade Porcelain. I took out the stopper and scraped out every last bit. I was using this as an under eye corrector because this does oxidize on me to a peachy tone, and this does give some nice medium coverage. It has a satin finish, but this is not something I would repurchase because I'm not able to find a good shade match for me. My next item is something that I had included in my Project 10 Pan Winter Edition. If you guys did not see any of those videos, I will have my playlist linked up here. I just wrapped up that project, and a lot of these empties, a lot of these products I did include in that project and use them up during that time. And this is one of them, the Dermablend Translucent Loose Setting Powder. I was using this during that project to set my under eyes, and it did a great job for that. I also love using this to set my face when I film first impression videos because it is your basic standard translucent loose powder. Very finely milled, but because it is so basic, it is not something that I would repurchase. My next item is something that I'm going to continue to use, but I did hit my goal on it. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. I just wanted to hit pan, and as you can see, I have done so, which is super exciting. So this is a bronzer I usually just use during spring, and for me, that is March, April, and May. But I started using this in February because I was just looking to try something different, switch up my makeup a bit, and I hit pan on it during that time, which is so exciting. So I'm going to continue using this throughout the rest of the spring season, so hopefully I will get even more pan on this. So I will continue to show you this in my updates to see if I get any more progress, but I absolutely love this bronzer. The first eyeshadow I hit pan on is the L'Oreal Infallible in the shade Amber Rush, a beautiful rose gold, and I did hit a decent amount of pan here. This is one of my all-time favorite shadows. I think it is absolutely stunning, and this is something that I can pair with brown eyeshadows. I can pair with more cranberry or purple shadows, and it looks beautiful either way. And then I have some single shadows that I was working on. These two here are Makeup Geek. This is Cupcake and Frappe. You can see I've hit a ton of pan on Cupcake, and that's because, as I said in my intro, I was working on these two shadows last year. I made really good dips in them, and I guess the dip in here was pretty even. So when I hit pan big time, and I was using this as a transition color mixed in with some of the other Anastasia shadows I hit pan on in my winter project. It wasn't included in that project, but I was using it along with those other products. So I'm ecstatic about that pan, and I've really fallen in love with this shadow more. As you can see, I have not hit pan on Frappe yet, which is okay for me because I am going to be focusing on this more in the summer or fall season, so I haven't touched it at all. And then the other eyeshadow I hit pan on is Anastasia Dusty Rose. This one was pretty tricky. I find that the Anastasia shadows that are in single form are a little bit more difficult to hit pan on than the ones in the palettes, but I absolutely love this as a crease color, so I'm really proud that I was able to hit pan on these shadows. And the rest of my shadows are from Anastasia palettes. So this is my Anastasia Tomato palette. I was working on the shade Fresh here, which was just a matte cream with a peachy pink undertone. I did completely use that up. As you can see, I used it to set my eyeshadow primer, so I'm really happy I was able to finish that shade. And then I had also included 4 shades from the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. And the first shade was Buon Fresco. As you can see, I did hit pan on this. I use this as a transition color with Dusty Rose, and oftentimes I would mix this with Makeup Geek Cupcake. Absolutely love that shade. I think all of those mattes pair beautifully together, so really happy I was able to hit pan on that one. And then I do have these 3 eyeshadows in this project as well: Tempera, Raw Sienna, and Burnt Orange. These I will be focusing on more in the summer fall season along with Makeup Geek Frappe, so I won't be touching these for a couple months, but I am really happy that I started out the year with some great eyeshadow progress, and I'm already feeling so successful and excited. Also, the other thing I'm the most excited that I finished up would be 2 of my lip products. I finished both of my mini Buxom glosses. This is in the shade Dolly, and this is in the shade Sophia. Dolly is more of a mauve, and Sophia is a light, slightly mauvey pink shade. I used the last bit of Sophia today, so I tried to take out the stoppers of these, and this one in Dolly I absolutely mutilated. I broke my tweezers. I had to throw them away, but you can see my progress on that one. So that's why there's a little bit left in here. And then for Sophia, if you guys saw the finale for my winter project pan, you know that I did have some stuck at the bottom, but today I put a Q-tip in there and was actually able to scoop out a lot of product, and I put it over top of the lipstick I'm wearing today to use the final application, so I was able to use that one up. So even though I couldn't take out the stopper and the applicator didn't reach to the bottom, a Q-tip did, so I'll remember that for the future. And I was able to really push through and use these up because I reapplied them a lot throughout the day. So I was really proud of myself for that, because this feels like a huge accomplishment for me, because 2 of these minis is the exact amount of product you get in a full-size gloss. So I'm really happy that I started out the year strong, hit pan on a bunch of shadows, and I used up 2 lip products. So that makes me feel hopeful that hopefully I can finish up some of these other lip products this year. So those were all the products I have either completed or hit my goal on. Now I'm going to show you the progress on all of the items that I have left. The first one here is my Marc Jacobs Pear perfume. I've made a ton of progress. So this line was from the intro, and here is where I am now. I have finished over half of this bottle, so I'm hoping I can have this finished off by next update. I've been using this every single day, and because this is an Eau de Toilette, it isn't a really strong fragrance, so I can really go to town. And I've also been spraying a little bit on the bed to freshen it up, which I feel like a bit of a hypocrite because I think that can be really wasteful. But honestly, this is starting to smell a bit stale to me, and it isn't even old, so that's upsetting to me. So I just want to go ahead and have this finished off by next update. I'm already getting sick of it and wanting to use some of my other perfumes, but I'm very, very proud of how much progress I've made, considering I probably haven't used this in months before I put it in this project. Also, I did just start my Project 10 Pan Spring Edition. I just posted my intro. I will have that linked up here because I have included some of these items to get a jump start on them and hopefully finish them up. And one of those products would be the Lancome Le Base Primer, and I am starting out right here. I've been using this for about a month before I included it in the project, so I have about half of this left to finish off. This is the oldest primer in my collection. I also included in that project the CoverGirl Clean Matte BB Cream in the shade 510 Fair. I also have a little less than half of this left, so I hopefully can finish it off by the end of that project. I am wearing it today, but this is too dark for me and it oxidizes, so I have to mix this with even amounts of the Hard Candy Glamouflage Foundation in Porcelain, so it is going to take me a little bit longer to get through it because I'm not able to use as much of it at once, but I'm really liking the way that it looks, so those items are in that current project. Next, I have the NYX Sculpt and Highlight Duo in the shade Ivory and Taupe. So I just put the Ivory shade in this project as something I wanted to finish up completely, but I told you guys in my intro that I was going to test out the shade Taupe as a cream contour to see what I thought. Absolutely not. This looks so gray and purpley on my skin. Trying to blend it out was easy enough, but it was obviously still there, but the color was so unnatural. It looked disgusting, like absolutely disgusting. I wore it a couple days and I was horrified with my makeup, not because of the formula, but really just because of that shade. So I will not be using it, but I will be trying to use up the Sculpt and Highlight in the Ivory shade. And when I finished my NYX HD Concealer, I did move on to this one under my eyes, and I was having a lot of trouble getting product to come out, but I think it's just the way that the packaging is formed. So I did take out the stopper, and there is a ton of product in here. Now I did put this to the side for this month because I'm testing out another under eye corrector product for a different video I'm doing, but I will go back to this, and I definitely know I can finish it by the end of the year. But this does also oxidize on me, turn a bit peachy, so I'm going to be using this as a corrector. And my next item is my Rimmel hashtag Insta Fix and Matte setting powder. You can see I've hit a ton of pan on this. It's a pretty shallow pan, but I am very happy with this, and I have put it to the side for a bit because I'm trying to pan some other powders, but because I'm so close, I think I'll go ahead and try to have this finished off by the next update. My next product is my mini Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Opal. My goal is just to hit pan on this. I haven't used it yet because it is too dark for my skin tone, so I will not be using this at all until the summer. And the last two face products would be my Pixi facial sprays. The first one is the Hydrating Milky Mist, which I'm using as a primer spray. This mark is from my intro, and this is where I am now. The reason I've been able to get through so much of this so quickly is the sprayer sprays out like this, like in the air down towards the floor, instead of spraying out straight so I can get it on my face. So I feel like I have to spray extra to fully coat my skin. So I have been going through that one a little bit quicker. And then we have my Makeup Fixie Mist, which I'm using as a setting spray. This is from my intro, and this is where I am now. I definitely think I can have this finished by the next update, but I think I can probably finish this one as well. So that will be a goal of mine. Moving on to the eye products, I have my MAC eyeshadow in Omega, which I'm using for my brows. I wish I took a picture of it at the intro, but I definitely do believe that I have expanded the pan in this. I have been using it almost every single day as my brow powder, but I will take a picture of what it looks like now, and then I'm going to repress this just to make it easier to use. And also I am getting a little bit of hard pan on this, and the shadow in general is just really tightly packed in there. So I'm going to repress it, put it all in the center, so hopefully it's a little bit easier to work with, and maybe soften up the formula a bit. And then I have my two Maybelline color tattoos. This is the shade Barely Beige. I did recently mix this up again because it was getting a little bit dried out, and I did also put this in my new spring project pan. So we'll see how much progress I can get on this. I'll tell you though, at the end of the year, I'm going to toss whatever is left because even when I continue to remix it, the consistency just isn't the same. And then the other shade I included was Caramel Cool, and my goal was to finish up a half of it, a quarter of it. I can't really remember. We'll see about that. Again, this is a color I would use either in the summer or fall, so I haven't reached into it yet. And then I have a couple more eyeshadows that I did not show you yet. I have one more Anastasia eyeshadow from the Master Palette by Mario in the shade Isabel here, and this is a shade that I probably also will not reach for until summer or fall, so I haven't used that one yet. And then the other eyeshadow that I had was the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells Trio. My goal was to finish the lid shade entirely and finish half of the crease shade, and this was an item I planned to put into my spring project, but I used it a couple times before I filmed my intro, and the consistency of this has definitely changed. This is the oldest eyeshadow I have in my collection, which is very old. Like, I've had this since before I started my YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure, which means it is ancient, and I'm just going to throw this away. I'm really happy to do that because I have replaced it with other shades that are comparable that I actually like even better for my spring project. Again, make sure you check out the intro to see what those are, but I will be going ahead and tossing that. I do feel pretty good because I was able to make some pretty dang good progress on something that cost literally $2.99, so I'm not sad that I have to toss that, but it is just way too old. And then I have the pencil liners I included in this project. The first is the Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Crayon. I use this for the entire month of January and February in my waterline, And this first mark was from the intro, and the second mark is where I am now. So not a ton of progress, but this is a very pigmented liner and you don't need a ton. It did last my waterline pretty well, and I was really impressed with that. Mine also is not too dried out. I'm not going to twist it up completely just because I'm terrified of breaking it off. I'm only twisting it up when I'm making my little measurements, but I will be setting this to the side and not reaching for it until later in the year because I will be focusing on my next two liners, which are from ColourPop, the cream gel liners in the shade Prance, which is a beautiful periwinkle blue, and Zulu, which is a mint. These are in my spring project, if I didn't already say so. And these markings show where they are. I've only used them a couple times since I marked them, so there isn't any progress yet, but hopefully in my next update I will have some really great progress. I'm wearing the shade Prance in my waterline today. Really, really love these. I know one of the shades was discontinued, but I can't remember which one. I wish I had backups of these because I really do like the formula and the colors. They just break really easily. So I think I can finish these this year. I'm a little nervous about this, but I'm happy that I started out the year working on it. And then we have my lip products. I have 7 of these suckers left that I'm trying to use up this year. The first one I have is the MAC Sheen Supreme lipstick in the shade Asian Flower. This mark here is where I am. I just put this in my spring project pan. I'm hoping to use this up because this is the oldest product in my collection. Luckily on my lips it pulls more like a purple tone pink, so it's a little bit more wearable because it looks a bit more pink on me, but I love that formula so much. Then I've got my MAC Patent Polish Lip Pencils and Go for Girly and Fearless. Haven't used these at all. I plan on using them up this summer. And then I have the 4 products that I want to use in the fall. I also haven't used any of these yet. I have the mini Tarte Lip Pencil in the shade Later Graham, the Tarte Glossy Lip Paint in the shade Obvi, the Smashbox Always On Liquid Lipstick in Driver's Seat, and I have my NARS Audacious lipstick in the shade Raquel. So I'm not going to get nervous about these products yet because it isn't the season for me to start using them. So not including the items that I finished in my makeup use up, I was able to complete 11 makeup items, and I'm really excited about some of these. So I finished up 2 deluxe size face primers. This is the MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance in the shade Radiant Yellow. This gave a little bit of hydration to the skin. The color correcting thing was garbage. It has a yellow tint to it, but it feels like lotion, and as soon as you start rubbing it onto your skin it goes clear, so I would not recommend this. I don't think it does anything, and I know it's actually pretty pricey. And then I finished a deluxe sample size of the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, which is a primer and moisturizer in one. I actually really love the way this made my skin feel. My foundation did glide over top of it nicely, but it feels like a moisturizer to me. So I would love to get another deluxe sample size of this, but I would never purchase it because it doesn't do much for my skin type. Now, I would recommend this for someone that has very dry skin and really would love a really hydrating primer. I think this does a very nice job, but like I said, just not something made for my very oily skin. The next item I finish is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 15 Fair. I was using this as an under eye concealer. This has light medium coverage. It has more of a glowy finish, and this shade was too dark for me, but they did just release more shades in this line, some deeper, and they did release one shade lighter, which is the color Ivory, which looks like a really great shade match for me, but I just do not love this concealer formula. I prefer concealers that give more of a medium to full coverage and have a satin or matte finish because I do have very oily under eyes, so this just doesn't do anything for me, so I will not repurchase it, but it did last me a very long time. I finished up a deluxe sample size of the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. This is my #1 holy grail under eye setting powder. I was really sad that I finished this up, but I have another this size, and then I also have the travel size to use up, but it's a phenomenal product and I will continue to repurchase that. I also finished up the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder in the shade 5 Fair. This is incredible for my oily skin. It's a perfect shade match for me. This has become a holy grail item, and if you guys have this, do you know if there's a way to pop out the sifter and get out all the product? I got out most of it, but I feel like there might still be some in there, so I don't see a way to actually get the stopper out. So let me know if you've been able to do that, if you have any tips. I I love this. I did already repurchase it. This is an absolute holy grail item to me. I didn't even realize how much I loved it until I completely used it up, but love it for setting my entire face. And then I finished the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder in Translucent. This is my #1 powder for touching up. I also like to go ahead and set my entire face, and then in my extra oily areas, I will apply some of this powder right when I do my makeup, and then it is great for touching up throughout the day. It doesn't make me look cakey, and it helps keep me matte for a long period of time. Some touch-up powders, literally 30 minutes later, I'm oily again. This one is absolute holy grail, the best I've ever used, so I have already repurchased it and I will continue to do so. Then I finished up a couple brow pencils I was working on for a very long time. The NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe and the Benefit Goof Proof Eyebrow Pencil in the shade #2. This is an amazing combination for me because I do have very thick brows, but I need to really fill in the tail, underline, overline, and really fill in the front, which is when I use the NYX, and then I use the Benefit for filling in the center. And the Benefit brow pencil is expensive, but it lasted me like 9 months, I think, which is absolutely incredible, totally worth the money. I absolutely love this combination, and these are my 2 favorite shades, although I did repurchase the NYX in the shade Blonde, which is very warm red tone, and I repurchased the Goof Proof in the shade 1, which is lighter. This is more of a cool tone taupe, and that one has more of a neutral undertone. I think that I probably will continue to buy the shade #1 in the Benefit, but I'll probably go back to the taupe in the NYX brow pencil. But this is holy grail to me, just as good as the Anastasia brow was. The perfect consistency between waxy and creamy. It also has a really nice precise tip. And here comes the thing that I'm the most excited about. I completely used up 2 ColourPop Super Shock shadows, and these would be in the shade Weenie, which is a pearlized finish. This is one of the Kathleen Lights colors, and then I have Lala, which was an ultra metallic finish. Both of these are rose gold shades. Lala is a little bit more gold, and Weenie is a little bit more rose, but these are so similar, you definitely don't need them both. And originally my goal was to hit pan on them, but if you apply them the way I do, which is I will use a sponge tip applicator as my first layer to get the precision, and then I'll go back in with my finger and add a layer to build up the intensity of the metallic sheen and the color, which works really well for me. But once these have started to dry out and you use the sponge tip applicator, I got a lot of pieces flaking off. I tried to use the flakes, but they did just flake off my eye. So some of this product did go to waste, but I'm happy that I was able to finish these up instead of them letting them dry out completely and be unusable. So I'm incredibly happy that I was able to finish these up, and it's encouraged me to add some more Super Shock shadows into future project pans, and probably a bunch of them into my 2019 makeup use up, because I have a ton of Super Shocks and they are starting to dry out, and I would definitely repurchase both of these. I also love the shade Amaze, which is a rose gold, but that's a metallic finish. So I need to figure out which of the 3 I would repurchase. So I'm not going to do it anytime soon, but I will just repurchase one of those 3 because they're all rose golds and I definitely don't need them all. The last thing I finished was the Jack Black The Stick Natural Lip Balm, and this is just a stick version of their lip balm. I did think this was really nice. It is a lot more on the thicker consistency like Burt's Bees. It had a really awesome mint scent. This is a little bit pricey for just a plain chapstick, so this is not something I would repurchase. I definitely love their liquid lip balms and I would repurchase those, but not this one. So guys, that was my first update for my makeup use up of 2018. I'm so excited. I'm starting out the year with a bang, making some really great progress. Hopefully I will keep this momentum all year long. Also, I would really appreciate it if you guys would check out my playlist for the other seasonal projects I have been doing as well. I would love to know if you guys are doing any project pans currently. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.